If I asked you about the UK's most popular wedding destinations, I'm sure many people would immediately say Gretna Green. It's a village in Dumfries and Galloway. It's got less than 3,000 inhabitants, and yet every year on average there are 5,000 wedding ceremonies held there. Some of them in the iconic blacksmith's shop with a big anvil. And in fact, Gretna Green has been a wedding hotspot ever since the 18th century. It's even a popular trope in Jane Austen-style novels and Regency TV dramas when the young star-crossed lovers are hoping to elope to Scotland, and it always features a scene of a coach racing down a dirt road, the mother at home fainting when she finds out, and the father vowing to hunt down the scoundrel. It's all great entertainment, very dramatic. But the question that remains is, why Gretna Green of all places? The simple answer is that it's the first village across the Scottish border if you're travelling on the main road from London. And it was desirable for many English couples to get married in Scotland because of the differences between the English and the Scottish marriage laws. So in England, in the year 1754, the so-called Hardwicke's Law was passed, imposing lots of new strict regulations on marriages. First of all, if the couple was under the age of 21, they had to provide proof of parental consent to their union, and also the ceremony had to be held in a church and officiated by a minister. And because not everybody could fulfill all those regulations, lots of couples did try to elope to Scotland, because here there were still some ancient marriage laws in place that allegedly had their roots way back in Roman times. The minimum age for a girl to get married was 12 years, and for a boy it was 14. Let me tell you, it was not common for Scottish children to get married that young. If anything, it was mostly young ladies from the aristocracy who would sometimes be married off in their teenage years. Commoners mostly waited until their 20s when they could financially afford to set up their own household. And also there was this concept called marriage by declaration. It meant that you didn't necessarily have to have your wedding in a church and officiated by a minister. You could simply turn up and you had to find two respectable citizens and verbally declare your intention to marry to those two people, and that made it legal. And if you had eloped to a place where you didn't know anyone, a good way of finding two upstanding citizens would be to go to the blacksmith shop, because first of all, the blacksmith is easy to spot, and secondly, he was a public figure in every village. He was a key worker, so to speak, so he would definitely be a respectable citizen. And that's why lots of blacksmiths over the years made it their side business to witness marriages. They called themselves the anvil priests, and some of them would require money and others would just be paid with a dram of whiskey. However, in 1856 the laws changed. Now you couldn't just turn up anymore and get married on the spot. You needed at least 21 days of residence in the parish where you wanted to get married. By the way, that's not the case anymore nowadays. It took a few more decades for Scottish lawmakers to tackle the elephant in the room, the minimum age. But ever since 1929, both parties have to be at least 16 years of age. But they still don't need parental consent. Maybe don't tell your teenagers, just in case. And then finally in 1940, the concept of marriage by declaration was outlawed. And now, even if you have your wedding in Gretna Green, you have to submit all your documents on time, and the ceremony has to be officiated by an authorized registrar or by a minister. All very civil and very normal. A far cry from all the drama and scandal from the good old days. But if you ask me, it's probably for the best this way.